Now let's turn our attention to some issues concerning social justice. 5 days after he was declared missing, the Nigerian army over the weekend confirmed picking up blogger and activist Justice Mark Chidiebere, better known as Justice Crack, following a video he posted online, where he documented the alleged poor welfare of soldiers of the Nigerian army, showing videos of what he claimed to be their daily meal portions. The statement released by the army states in part, "While the matter is being investigated for breach of the armed forces' social media policy and an attempt to misinform the public, preliminary report reveals that the soldiers discussed a wide range of issues with Justice Chidiebere, who seemed to be inciting soldiers to create discontent within the system. An example was a chat bordering on subversion, which Chidiebere had with the soldiers. It's important to state that a situation where civilians cultivate vulnerable personnel towards acts of subversion has far-reaching implications on discipline and national security." Well, of course, the statement goes on to say that Justice Crack has been transferred to the relevant civilian authority. However, Justice Crack's friends and well-wishers have sounded the alarm that they've received reports that he was subjected to torture whilst under army custody, further alleging that the Department of State Services, DSS, has refused to accept a transfer into their own custody due to his alleged battered state. Let's take a listen.
Since they carried Justice Crack, they blindfolded him, handcuffed him. Daytime, they keep him under sun. For nights, they put him for cold room. He has even half cold as we speak. So, and then for nights, they don't smuggle and go for DSS. They hurry where they carry and go DSS in cars, still even there with the military as we they talk. Nigerians, we can confirm, say the barrister, Professor Sam Amadi, don't go there. They don't do the interview and all of that. We no one talk too much. The message is simple. We will increase the pressure until justice is released without any conditions, because no offense or allegation has been made against him.
Well, a protest demanding Justice Crack's release has been scheduled for today, May 4th, in Abuja. However, concerns have, of course, been raised about the legality of the army picking up a civilian, and secondly, for detaining any individual for more than 48 hours without a court order. There's so many moving pieces to this. I'll begin with you, Dr. Abati. Very concerning developments, especially allegations of him being brutalized and battered.
Okay, there is a provision. Fundamental Human Rights Enforcement Procedures, 2009, which again reinforces Chapter 4 of the Constitution, Sections 35 and 36, which both talk about fair hearing. So when a person is accused of an offense, you cannot detain that person for more than 48 hours. You take the person to the nearest court within that jurisdiction. You explain the person's offense to him or her, and then the person is entitled to legal representation. Where you violate all of this, then of course there's a matter of fundamental human rights abuse. Now, in the case of Justice Crack, Chidiebere, you call them, it will appear that detaining him for up to 5 days will amount to a violation of those sections of the law that I have quoted. And he has the right to insist on his fundamental human rights, and other groups can do it for him, either pro bono or by legal representation. And oftentimes in Nigeria, that has been a problem. Persons are arrested and they are forgotten in detained persons' cells. Some people could be there for 3 years. There have been persons who have been there almost forever, and their rights are abused. If we speak about the rule of law, then of course that should be respected. Now, as to the main offense, again, this is part of the hazard of the media, whether it's a citizen journalist or it's just an influencer on social media, or a mainstream professional journalist. This gentleman was said to have brought a matter to the fore via social media, and that's why the military had arrested him and detained him. Now, torture is even not allowed. You are not supposed to torture a person who has not been convicted, who has not been given a term of punishment by a properly constituted court of law. If that is investigated and found to be true, and not just an ordinary allegation, then the military authorities will be very wrong in that regard to have tortured him. But the substantive issue is that this Justice Crack posted a video in which he was speaking more or less for aggrieved soldiers who said they were not being given good food, and they were at the battlefront. I think it was you that brought this story originally to our attention. And we have said, look, these soldiers' welfare is important. both for the police and other uniformed agents and agencies of government, to feed them in a miserable manner, to offer them dog food, will not be proper. The military authorities, I think they differentiated what they call RSA between what they feed people on the war front and what ordinarily is available to soldiers. But our own basic point is that welfare is important for those persons who have elected to defend the sovereignty of the country. But the military also has a rule. If you're an aggrieved officer or rank and file or whatever, you don't go under the armed forces rules to the social media. The appropriate process is for you to report to your superior officer or, go through the bureaucratic process, not to go to social media. And it is in that regard that Justice Clark is being accused of trying to incite the troops to cause indiscipline, to cause rebellion among the troops, which again will be classified as incitement. And it's not just the troops that is accused of inciting, also the public, because we are legitimately concerned that, soldiers should be well taken care of. But whatever it is, the rights of the persons, whether the soldiers who are, liable under court martial, or the gentleman, Justice Clark, whom we are told has been transferred to the civil authorities, is that justice must be done. Yeah. This should not be a case of victimization. Fair hearing is a basic principle in any kind of allegation. But more importantly, we return to the original point we made here, that soldiers should be well fed.
Correct.
If a man says, I can die for the country, I can defend sovereignty, it will be an act of ingratitude not to feed those soldiers well, whatever the rules may say. And as for the all the parties involved, they should have their day in court.
Absolutely.
And, they must get fair hearing and justice must be done. But we have to return to the point. You cannot be feeding repentant terrorists, giving them a shwebi and saying they have repented. And the people who are in the war front, the battlefront, they are the ones who have to be saying, oh, they don't eat good food. We give them good dog food. Fair is fair.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Justice for justice. Yeah.
Because of the severity and importance of this, I can yield my right to speak in the next couple of topics. If this is the only thing I speak about today, please, can I be given the time to speak?
No, please, go ahead, Rufai. This is an important story.
In 2020, a serving major general was leading the troop on the war front, and they were deficient of materials. General Adeniyi made a video to show the deplorable state of supplies in the military. He was court-martialed, he was punished. But a serving general, passionate about the Nigeria, a patriot, had to make a video. Secondly, there's been another military officer that has even left the military that complained about the fact that they have to kit themselves and all of that. The question I would like to ask is, what did Justice Clark do that most military officers had not done or expressed before now? Thirdly, if you have something against the military officers that gave Justice Clark an information, can you go after the military officers, not Justice Clark, which you now claim that was trying to incite? That's your own part of the story. We have not heard Justice side of the story. Then you've taken him up and you've beaten him.
Allegedly.
No, allegedly. But you've taken him up, not allegedly. Because the military came out to say that they've taken up. Does the military have a right to take up someone, to kidnap somebody? So I think we need to be able to take the military as an institution to court for it. This is dehumanizing. Do they have the right to carry somebody on the street because they don't agree with you? The question I'd like to ask is, if Justice Clark walked with over 100 bodyguards, American military with about 100 soldiers, snipers and guns everywhere, could they have picked him up? Why did they pick him up? Because he was defenseless. And you took him in and you started to torture him. Wait, not even allegedly, even by taking somebody against their will is torture. He was kidnapped. So that's torture. He's been tortured already. You know what it means psychologically? To take somebody away for 5 days? They can't have access to their family and all of that, and you issue a statement? Is that not torture? Can they do that to any of the military men that went to take him? Maybe I'm talking from experience. Because a journalist also wrote a story against the Minister of State for Defense, and he was taken in. It was me that he called, and I intervened. And I called people in government to ensure the guy gets out. This is getting too much in this country. We are not safe. We advocate for the military. When they have their case of mutiny, don't we speak up for them? We speak up for them. So why do this to a citizen? Because if they can do this to a citizen, that means it can be done to anybody. Oh, we have the case with MK Abiola back in the days in this country.
That was the military era. When a civilian was.
But how has it changed, Ayo? How has it changed?
There should be a stark difference.
Just only the other day,
Okay.
people, like I said before, please, Ayo, Vimbai, I yield my right to speak on other topics. If this is the only topic I want to speak on today, please let it be the case. So how has it changed? The other day, weren't we advocating for 3,000 naira pay ration? Weren't we advocating for more money be given? Is this a military we advocate for that can just take citizens and take them out of the out of public land like that?
It could be anybody.
Because it could be anybody tomorrow. So what country are we living in?
I understand the passion, because I think we all feel it, and that's why we brought the story, and that's why we're going to continue following up on it, and we're going to
And
continue
something must
to
be done.
ensure
And we
that
must
something
call out
is done.
the chief, the defense chief, the military chief, CJ Musa. Please, you are the defense chief. Something must. This is not the military. You people tell us to help build when you say we should have interactions.
So, I mean, you can
This is not
see
the country we should build.
This is an issue that has got a lot of people deeply passionate and emotional.
And Minister of Defense.
And he's Minister of Defense, yes. So he's overseas. He was also a top military officer before now.
Yeah.
This is not the country we should build.
Yeah.
This is madness. We don't have a country.
understand the issue.
We don't have a country at all. This is madness.
Okay. Well, we're here, and we're going to do our part. We're going to continue to do our part.
We have our sister from Zimbabwe living here because we have a country.
Well, they say I am happy here, but they say Nigeria go better. So we'll continue to advocate for Nigeria to move forward. All right. Okay. We're going to, yes, it could be anybody, and that's the point. Yeah.
I'm talking this man.
No,
Maybe
totally valid.
Experiment.
Totally
maybe
valid.
they pick one of us here and take the person like that. Maybe we will be quiet like
fine.
this.
I understand. I understand. And a lot of people, like I said, this is a deeply concerning issue and something that we're all very passionate about.